For those of you who don't know, Believathon, that sounds very dramatic for those of you who don't know. Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my Believathon wrap-up. So, I'm filming this for the second time since I got halfway through last time and then my battery died, my memory card was full, then my computer space was full, and when I tried to fix it, it froze. Happy times. So I will just do it all again. For those of you who don't know, Believathon is a month-long readathon hosted by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. I'm gonna link his channel down below, go check it out. And during the readathon, you're supposed to read all the middle grade and children's literature that you can and want to. And to help you along, Gavin made this great compendium. This time around, it was called Believathon Escape from the Jungle. We had to escape the jungle, and in order to do that, we had to read different prompts or different books for different prompts that he created, and we could cut them out and have these little cards, and we could pick from these cards the books or the prompts that we wanted to read. In my TBR video, I'm gonna link that down below as well, and up here somewhere. In my TBR video, I picked 3 prompts in order to have a bit of a selection from which I could choose my next read, and when I finished one of those prompts, I was allowed to pick another, so that I would always have 3 open prompts to read from. And I did that. And the first 3 that I picked during my TBR video were pick a book that features your favorite color, read a scary book, and read a book released in 2021. And I read all those and some others. So it was a very successful Believathon for me. I'm not really sure about the order that I picked these prompts in. I only know the first 3. So I'm just gonna tell you about those, and then I'm gonna go just randomly pick some of the prompts that I chose. And just in case some of you watched my TBR video or watch it later and then you're like, wait, you mentioned some books that you don't mention in this video. Yes, I did mention these books, and I didn't really get around to reading them. The first 2 were books for Gavin's Patreon's book clubs. These were The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine M. Valente, which was a TBR veteran for me. This has been on my shelves forever, and I have been meaning to get to this. I didn't. And the next one was Crowfall by Vashti Hardy. Again, this was for the book club for his Patreons, and I didn't really get around to it. I was just not feeling it this month, but that's fine. I will get to it eventually. And the other 2 books that I didn't get around to reading, well, the middle grades from my TBR video, were sadly Frost Hard. I wanted to read this for the prompt released in 2021. I chose another book for this one because I would have had to read the second one, and I just didn't get around to it, which is sad because these are 2 books from Gavin's favorite series of all time, the Frostheart trilogy, and this is the conclusion, so I really want to get to it. These work perfectly for the colder months, so I should have like 1, 2, or maybe even 3 months left for this. Now that I have the books that I didn't read out of the way, let's get into the books that I did read. So why don't we start with the book that replaced Frostheart for the book that was released in 2021. This was a book that I saw in my bookshop, and this was a new release here in Germany. It looked very cute, and when I found the audiobook online, I was like, you are my next read. And this I can highly recommend, and it's called Ein wirklich wahres Weihnachtswunder by Isabel Abedi and Daniela Kohl. And I mean, look at it. It's very cute, just the design of it. There are very cute illustrations, and the story itself just warmed my heart. It's about 2 siblings that travel from Berlin to Hamburg because their family is in the middle of a move. Their mother still has to work in Berlin, and their father is already in Hamburg waiting for them, and the big brother has to watch their luggage because in their suitcase are all the presents that he made for his family, and also that his family got for him and his sister. And when they arrive in Hamburg, they sadly realize that someone had taken their suitcase by mistake and left them theirs. So they take this wrong suitcase back home, and of course they believe Christmas is ruined, nothing's gonna be as it should be, especially since especially since, I want to say Manu is his name, especially since, sorry, it feels like I have a cat hair or something on my face. Sorry. Let's hope the feeling goes away. Especially since Manu has put really much effort into creating a playlist of Christmas songs and recording them for his family because he plays the saxophone. So they get home and they open the suitcase and they're trying to figure out like who it belongs to, and then all of a sudden Manu hears his songs being played somewhere in the house that they live in, and he and his sister try to find out who took their suitcase and if they can maybe save Christmas along the way. I really love this, especially since the audiobook was really good. I love the detail that between the chapters they put in just a bit of the saxophone song, so you had like the feeling like you heard Manu playing the saxophone, so that was really cute. And since it is kind of a book that you like read out loud for your children, it worked very well. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a great release for this year, and I can really highly recommend it if you read in German. Sorry for all of those who don't. Yeah, that was my first prompt. This actually was my first middle grade that month, so yeah, that worked really well, and I gave it 5 stars. The next prompt that I picked in my TBR video was read a scary book, which worked out perfectly because I did have some scary, spooky reads back from October when I wanted to read all of those books, and I didn't get around to it. Halloween just kind of flew by, and I really didn't get around to reading a lot of spooky reads this season. So I was happy to finally read this book because I did love the first in the series, and that's Dead Voices by Catherine Arden. This is the sequel to Small Spaces, and this is following the same set of characters, Ollie, Coco, and Brian, and they've become friends during the first adventure that they had in book 1, where they were escaping from scary scarecrows, and now they're on winter vacation with their parents, and they get to this very spooky isolated cabin or hotel, and there are other guests but it's very limited, and then they get snowed in. It's a scary place. There are ghosts when they arrive, and they kind of want to leave, but they can't because of the snow. And now they're stuck there, and something spooky is happening. I already scared my cat. So something scary is happening, and maybe old foes are back at it again. And I would have liked to say that you can read this as a standalone, but you should read the first one. It is explained later on in the story, so you might want to try to read it if this is only the first one that you can pick up, or if this is the only one that interests you because of the ghosts. But I would recommend starting with Small Spaces, and I love that one as well, so you are in for a treat. Editing Bea here. Just wanted to mention really quickly, I forgot when I was filming this, that what I really appreciated in this book was that the parents were actually there and they cared, and the reasoning behind why the kids have to go against this evil that's in this house by themselves is very well explained. There's a reason for it. It's not that the parents are negligible. So bonus points for that. And what I also really liked was that when the children noticed that something scary was going on, they didn't run into danger without any thought. They actually tried to leave. They actually try to stay away from the danger. They try to just keep to themselves and not engage, and they were just dragged into the whole thing, and they couldn't leave because of the snow. So I really like that, because in so many middle grades you have characters that just don't really think about the consequences. They just rush into danger trying to be your hero, or just without any thought. And in this instance, it was very well done that kids would get scared and that they would try to stay away from ghosts and weird voices and weird people. So I like that. And again, I gave this 5 stars. And the last prompt that I picked during my TBR video was read a book that features your favorite color. and like I explained, I'm not really sure what my favorite color on books is, but this comes pretty close. All this purple and pinkish color, and just the cover itself is just beautiful. And that's Gargantus by Thomas Taylor. This is the sequel to Malamander, which I can highly recommend as well. And this takes place in the city of Erie-on-Sea, and it's during the fall season, so it's not very cheery anymore, it's eerie. And we follow again Herbie and Violet in the Grand Nautilus Hotel, where a very weird stranger happens to be a guest, and he leaves something for Herbie at the Lost and Found where he works, and it just brings out a lot of different people from the village, and it puts in motion a whole adventure that revolves around this legend of the Gargantus, which is supposed to be only the name of the storm that happens upon this small town. But really, if you look at the cover closely, there may be a bigger threat to this town. I really enjoyed this. I listened to the audiobook as well, which is really good. I can highly recommend it. I only gave this one 3.5 stars in comparison to the other two books. This was only okay, but like 3.5, that's still a great book. And I do want to continue with the story. I already have the third one on my shelf, so that's gonna be read sometime soon. Again, like the first one, this was very atmospheric, and I really enjoyed the setting and the characters. The beginning was a bit slow, like just getting there, like getting to the juicy part of the story just felt a bit long and a bit random at times. But like the last third of the book, perfection. I really enjoyed the, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's just the way this legend unravels in the end and makes sense, and what happens with it. I really enjoyed that part. And like Malamander, it's not all what it seems. And again, this could be read kind of as a standalone, but I would recommend reading the first one first. So after reading these 3 prompts, like every time I finished one, I picked another clue, another prompt. I didn't really notice how many books I read until the end of the month, and now I'm really happy about it. I think I read 11 altogether, so let's just pick a prompt and let's see which book I chose for it. One of the next prompts that I picked was read a 5-star prediction, and sadly it didn't really hold up, but it did get a 4-star, and that's Adam 2 by Alistair Chisholm. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. And this is the second book that he brought out. This is a standalone, so you can actually just go ahead and read this one, but I highly recommend Orion Lost, which was his debut, I think middle grade debut. And these are both sci-fi, but I'm going to talk about Adam for now. Adam 2 is a robot, and he has been living in a basement for over 200 years. And when his father, his inventor, left, he told him that he should be a good boy and just wait until someone comes and gets him. So Adam waits because he's a good boy. And he has like a routine. He does things every day, and then he goes to sleep, and when he wakes up again, he does it all over again. And that's what happened for over 200 years. Then all of a sudden, one day, someone actually visits him, or stumbles upon him more likely, in this basement, and drags him out into the real world, into a world that had a uprising of machines, where humans are afraid that every machine has the command to kill them, and therefore they're trying to destroy the machines, the robots, before they can get them. And the 2 kids that find Adam, they get rescued by him, and of course they kind of want to see where this goes, why he is different from other machines. So they take him back to their headquarters, and the story unravels from that. I think I gave Orion Lost 5 stars, or 4.5. So I had high hopes for this one, and it didn't disappoint. It was a very quick and very fun read. It just, at some point, the pacing was a bit off for me, because it did take at some points longer than it should have, in my experience or in my reading taste, and sometimes they just skipped over like a week and those were the times that he kind of got to know these people and that he tried to be part of their world, and that was kind of like skimmed over. Of course, this is a middle grade, it can't be 500 pages long, but I would have liked to see that a bit more. It just happened very quickly. But I did love the message behind this. Again, like also in Gargantus, but also in Orion Lost, there's always this question of what's humanity like? What will we do when we have the choice to do something good or something right and something that may be convenient, or that has been part of us for a very long time, what people have told us for a very long time. And I really enjoyed this conversation in this book. Also, Adam is just a cutie, and I really enjoyed all the characters in this one as well. Hi, editing me again. So just wanted to let you know, if you're looking for diversity in middle grade books, this is one to check out, because one of the kids that stumbles upon Adam is Lyndon, and they're non-binary. And Adam finds out very quickly and automatically asks for their pronouns, and later on those are used during the whole novel. So I really like the representation in this, and since Lyndon is also one of the perspectives that we have, I really enjoy that this was one of the main characters, especially since Lyndon is very suspicious of Adam and can't really trust him, and it's interesting to see their relationship grow and see all the different aspects of this war between machine and men. And funnily enough, this takes place around Christmas time. It's not called Christmas anymore. By the way, the setting is Edinburgh, so another plus point. I thought this was just a generic city in the future, but it's actually Edinburgh. I haven't been there yet, but it would be fun to see like what people who live there, if they recognize some of the monuments that they're talking about. But yeah, this takes place during the winter months, and I think they celebrate like the solstice or something, so it fits perfectly into like the November-December vibe of all of this. So yeah, 4 stars for that one. And let's go for the next one. Read your most recent purchase. I received a lot of ARCs during that time, but I went with their last purchase, the last one that I actually did buy myself, and that was The Very Merry Murder Club, written by a whole bunch of authors and edited by Serena Patel and Robin Stevens. These are 13 wintry mysteries and stories. It says mysteries. I don't really think some of these actually are like mysteries, if we want to be nitpicky about it. So I'm just gonna say Christmas stories with like a mystery twist. And this I bought because of Gavin, because he showed this to Jade from JD Ray Reads during one of their live shows, and he showed what's under the dust jacket, and the naked hardback is just, I'm gonna show you. And these end papers, again, beautiful, but nothing compared to this. Beautiful. And the beautiful thing about this is that every story is represented with like a little picture or like a little character on this naked hardback. It's beautiful. I needed to have it, and then I was very happy that I actually got around to reading this very quickly. All in all, I gave it a 3-star. In the end, there were great stories. I gave one of them a 5-star, which was The Frost Wilds by Dominique Valente, and this one was more of a fantasy mystery and less of like a crime novel mystery. But another one that I really enjoyed was the very first one, and that was The Shoe Dunnit by Elle McNichol, and this one was actually like Agatha Christie style, really whodunit story. I really enjoyed that one as well. It was a great start for the book. Sadly, there were a lot of stories that I gave like 2.5, 2, or even 1 stars. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these I didn't really get. Some of them were just kind of boring. Some were just weird. I didn't vibe with some of them. So I really went and put all of the numbers in, and it gave me a 3-star. So, which is still a good book, and I would recommend if you like little stories set during the winter times, that would be fine, but it's not one of my favorite. And even though I gave like one of them a 5-star, one of them a 4.5, or more than one, I don't think any of this wowed me. It did make me want to pick up some of their other works, especially Elle McNichol. I've really liked her writing style, so I'm gonna check out her other books. But in the end, I'm not really a short story kind of gal, so that might be it. But yeah, I'm happy that I got to it when I got to it, and that's another prompt down. The next prompt was read a book with a title that starts with the same letter as your name. And my name is Rabea, Bea for short. And the one that I read for this is Relatively Normal Secrets by C.W. Allen. This was an ARC that I got. But yeah, I only gave it 3 stars. Again, this was okay. It wasn't really something that stayed in my mind. It's only been a couple of weeks and I'm not really sure anymore what happened. Let me just check. Oh yeah, okay, now I remember. This doesn't bode well if I don't really remember the story if I see the title. But anyway, so this is about, again, 2 siblings that have weird parents. Zed and Tuesday are siblings, and their father is very mysterious about their job, and their mother has like a weird dog that only listens to her. Still, they think they are a very normal family until their parents disappear, and the 2 siblings get kind of kidnapped into another realm where they have to find clues in order to find their parents. I don't know, this felt like all over the place. I wasn't really feeling the setting. It was a mix-up between sci-fi and fantasy world, and it just didn't really mesh well together in my opinion. So I didn't really know how to imagine all of this, and I don't know, the story was kind of straightforward. They went from this place to that place and they got told this story and that story, and I wasn't really feeling it. It just didn't grab me at all. There was nothing bad about the book, there's nothing wrong with it, so it still got a 3-star. But I was reading it, but I was kind of reading it so that I can review it, and I don't know. Oh, I reviewed it. Wait, I can actually look up the review and see what I said. Oh, I didn't give a review yet. I should do that soon. Okay, on to the next book. Oh my god. This is going well. So the next prompt was read a book that gives you winter vibes. And for this I read another German title, and that's Für immer Sommerby by Kirsten Boy. And this is the 3rd in a series, but I did actually start with this one. I didn't read the first 2, and that's totally fine. Everything that you need to know gets explained to you, and this has the same characters as the first 2, but you don't really need to know the details of the first 2 because the first 2 take place during other seasons, and now it's winter time and they're visiting their grandmother again. And the first couple of chapters I wasn't really feeling it because the teenage daughter really annoyed me, kind of, because she's talking a lot about 2 boys that she's interested in, one back at home and one that she met, I guess, during the summer. I don't know, I didn't read the story. But in the end, it all came together. The rest of the story really intrigued me because we follow her whole family when they visit their grandmother, and everything went wrong that could go wrong. Everyone's kind of miserable during this time. Everybody has different opinions on how Christmas is supposed to go. The kids are always on their phone, or they just make mischief. And one of the brothers just found out that the geese, I think, that they have are the ones that get eaten during Christmas, so he is on a rampage. And yeah, it was really fun. It was a lot of family drama and everybody's miserable. And then they also get snowed in, and the electricity fails because they're on an island, so nothing really works anymore. A lot of winter vibes, and it was very nostalgic for me as an adult later on because since they don't have electricity, a lot of things just don't work anymore. The phones don't work. They have to like huddle up, they have to get cozy. Jesus, this sounds like in my childhood I didn't have electricity and I had to huddle up for warmth. That's not what I meant, I'm sorry. neighbors that don't have an oven come to them just to get through the storm. Like the first one that I showed you, it's very about what's really important for Christmas. Is it about the presents? Is it about what you actually do, or is it the people that you spend it with? I really enjoyed this. Like in part, I thought this was very great for like adults who read this to their children, because it is very nostalgic. You see all the things that you had during your Christmases, during your childhood, but it's very authentic when it shows the kids who have all their phones, all their gadgets, and they just want like a normal holiday that they have today. So I thought it was very well done in mashing up these two different kinds of Christmases that you know from yourself and maybe your children. So even though I didn't really get along with the beginning of the story, I really enjoyed it in the end, and I still gave it 5 stars. And I'm very happy to read it again or listen to it again, because I did listen to the audiobook to this next year. So the next prompt that I picked was read a book with a creature in the title. And for this I read Stella und der Mondscheinvogel by Catherine Fisher. So Mondscheinvogel is actually the name of the creature or the animal that she finds. Oh, it actually is in the English one. I thought the English title would be different, but it's The Clockwork Crow, so it fits there as well. So I listened to this, and I have to be honest, I was listening to it while I was doing other things, because I quickly realized that it wouldn't be a favorite. I only gave it 2.5 stars. It felt, even though I don't think this is a very old title, let me check. This is a 2018 release. So yes, it's not the newest release, the original version, but I don't know, it felt very dated. It felt like a very old title. It felt like old ideas. There was nothing very original about it. But let me tell you about the plot first. This is Stella's magical journey. She is an orphan, Stella is an orphan, and she is taken to this very huge mansion where she can work and she can just live for a while. So she gets there and she notices that there should have been a child at one point, because she finds all these clues, but nobody really talks about it. And later she finds out that the boy that had lived there, the son of the owners of this, he went missing about a year ago and he was never found. And she goes out and tries to find him, or clues where he might have gone, and stumbles upon this other realm of like fairies and goblins, these kind of things, and tries to get him back, basically. I know this is a very weird synopsis, but it was a very book, so I'm not really remembering all of it. This is the start of a series. I'm not going to continue it, to be honest. I wasn't really feeling it. It was very basic and don't really want to talk about it anymore. 2.5 stars. The next prompt is read an adventure. And for that I picked another German title, and it's called Freddy and Flo gruseln sich vor gar nix by Maria Kling. This is about a family who moves into a new building, and they soon learn that they're not very welcome there because all of their neighbors are kind of weird and kind of suspicious. And they soon find out why, because apparently all their neighbors are supernatural beings and they don't really want them in their house because they're afraid that they're gonna be found out. And of course Freddy and Flo find out because one night a young witch stumbles upon their apartment. She tells them that their landlord is trying to get rid of them, and so they're trying to help. They're trying to get to know their neighbors, and again this is like a very neighbory feeling. This is not scary, this is very cute, and it's an adventure because they are trying to save this building for their neighbors, because of course they don't really have any place else to go. And I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. It was funny. It was funny. And if you can, listen to the audiobook because I really highly recommend it. I gave this one 5 stars. The next prompt was read a book that has illustrations. And during that time I was at home, and my mother had a book lying around that I had been meaning to read for a while, and it's called Das letzte Schaf by Ulrich Hup. Sorry, another German one. And this is so cute. I'm not even sure if this counts as middle grade, but I'm just gonna say it does. This is basically the Christmas story of Jesus Christ's birth, told from this perspective of the sheep. And I already read Ulrich Hupp's first novel about like Noah's Ark. This one was fun as well. This I gave 4 stars. And like I said, it's a very cute story about this flock of sheep that hear about a child being born. They think it's a girl, and they hear everyone's going there, so they think they should go there as well. Because one day they wake up and their shepherds are gone. And on their way, they have all these adventures. I think it's a fun story for children as well as adults, because we see all the little hints and the little snide remarks. It was a fun read. It's kind of cheating because it was very short, but that's fine. And I gave it 4 stars. And the last one is Read a Cover By. And I'm very glad that this is the last book that I'm going to show you, because I actually have it with me. This is such a beautiful cover. I had to buy the hardback. It's Winter House. Winter House by Ben Gooderson. And you might be like, why is this a cover by? And I'm gonna tell you, it's because of what's under the dust jacket. It's so cute. I really love the idea, because you have these little windows, and when you put it on, you have them like showing the house. I really love the end papers as well. It's also a map. So this is beautiful. And I'm really glad that I finally got around to reading this. This one was for the Middle Grade Monthly Book Club, hosted by Gavin and Jade. I'm not really sure if I'm going to continue with the series, because I only gave it 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it well enough. This is about, again, an orphan. I'm sorry about all the children that don't have parents in these middle grades. This is about orphan Elizabeth Summers. And she lives with her aunt and uncle, and it's kind of like a Harry Potter style situation where they're awful to her, and suddenly they get to go on a cruise, and she gets invited to the hotel Winter House. All expenses paid. She just can go there as a guest. She doesn't really know why or who a benefactor is, but she goes because who wants to be with her awful relatives when she can be alone at an hotel during the winter times. So she goes, and it's a very eerie, mysterious hotel, and the people there seem nice, but again, it's kind of a weird place to be. And all of a sudden, very mysterious things start to happen. I don't really want to spoil anything, but it does have a fantastic element to it, and there's a whole story that may have to do with Elizabeth in the end. So it's a great way to start the series, and it was kind of spooky, so this is definitely on the spooky side as well. It has great illustrations. I'm gonna show you, like one of them is like this. So I really appreciated the illustrations. I really like the story. I think in my mind I compared it to Green Glass House, and I just love Green Glass House, so this couldn't compare in my opinion to that, because I enjoyed the very cozy vibes in Green Glass House. I didn't really feel with Winter House, because the house itself, the hotel, is so mysterious and so creepy that I didn't really feel the same cozy vibes that I did with Green Glass House, and I really wanted that in this instance. I might reread this at some point and without this expectation, and just see if I like it better, but for now I think I'm gonna read this as a standalone and be happy with the outcome and don't continue with the story. Hi, me one last time, I promise. What I forgot to mention again was how scary I think some of these middle grades are nowadays. Winter House, as well as Gargantus and Dead Voices, they have all scenes where I myself got the shivers. I was reading it and I kind of had to take a second and be like, wow, that's creepy. So if you're thinking about giving this to a child, just think if they get very scared very easily, maybe check it out beforehand. You can always ask me in the comments or DM me if you want to know specifics. Maybe I'm just getting sensitive in old age. But I don't know if middle grade books were as scary when I was that age, or if they just upped the ante. I don't know. But there are some spooky, scary scenes in these, so just want to let you know. But I did really like it. I gave it 3.5 stars. So those were the 11 books that I read for the Believathon. I made it out of the jungle, thank God, for Christmas, and I can't wait for the next installment of the Readathon. This was the last full-length, month-long Readathon hosted by Gavin. He did say he might be doing like a couple of smaller ones, maybe for like a weekend or a week. But I want to thank Gavin for hosting these. These were so much fun. I think I did all of them. I'm not sure if I finished all of them, but I did participate in all of them. And this was a great way to end this. I really enjoyed like the little cards. I had a lot of fun. And I found some very great books, and I'm so happy to be in this community with him and everyone else. And I hope you were inspired by some of these. Let me know down in the comments if you're interested in reading some of these that I mentioned, or if you know some that I might enjoy as well, then please leave like a recommendation. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more of my content. There's going to be another wrap up for the rest of the books that I read during the month of November, because I did read more than just middle grade. I read a lot of young adult and adult books as well. I'm hoping to get that content out soon as well. Soonish. And until the next time, I'm hoping you read all the great reads. Bye!